Hi guys, I wanted to do a video today on how to make bunny ears. Mainly, these are for cosplay. These are for my Mikuru bunny cosplay. I've talked about it in another video, so if you want to know the particular character I'm talking about, go look up that. But, these are really ginormous, and they are bendy. They're bendable as long as you're gentle with them. And they're on a headband. I wanted to do a tutorial, kind of like a quick tutorial, kind of on how to make them, because it took me a couple trial and error. Like, I thought of one idea and it didn't work, and I kind of tried to craft it up, this idea. So, I just kind of wanted to make this. I know there are a lot of videos out there for how to make this or that, but I couldn't find one I wanted to find how to make really big ears. So this is probably going to be labeled under like cosplay, how to make giant bunny ears, but you can make smaller scale of this. So let us get started. I will talk about what you will need, and then we'll start. I'm going to make one at a smaller scale just because it's easier. Pretty much what you're going to need, first off, hot glue gun, your fabric. I'm the satiny kind of material, and just whatever fabric you want to do, but just make sure it can handle a glue gun. Paper, like just like a sturdy paper, nothing super flimsy, just a sturdy paper. Your, a headband. Make sure this headband can handle the ears. This is a crappy little headband. I probably wouldn't use this for ears these big. Make sure you have a big headband for big ears, trust me. This would be good for smaller ears. And make sure it stays on your head alright, This has the teeth that holds it on. Make sure it doesn't slide around. Wire, whatever type of wire you want to use. This is just an old twisty tie thingy. I wouldn't use this to make big ears. I used disassembled a wire hanger to make mine. You're gonna want duct tape and scotch tape. I don't have any scotch tape. I'm actually out. I used it on those, but duct tape. Here, Lucy, and measuring tape. Like charcoal or marker or whatever to mark your fabric, and then just pencil. Pretty sure that covers everything. So, and scissors. Ones for that you use to cut your paper, and then if you have ones that are for cutting fabric. And tape. So, let's get started. First off, what you want to do is you want to draw on how big you want it. This is how I do it. I kind of do the top part and then the bottom part, depending on how big. You could just draw on one piece if you wanted to. Then you tape it together, like this is. Then decide what you want to do the front, and then take your wire and tape it to your paper, your paper ear. So make sure it's down the middle. You technically probably don't have to use wire. It's just going to be sturdier and bendable. So just keep that in mind. I just think it's nifty to have it bendable, just so you can bend the ears and then make them like bending it certain ways is going to make it sturdy, sit differently. Like if I have them too forward, they lean forward, you know what I mean. And then the access wire on the end, just kind of bend it like that, like an L, because you're going to tape that to the headband. And then you can just kind of bend it to the shape you want. It doesn't really matter. You can bend it once everything's on there. I mean, if you're using a really stiff fabric, it might be more difficult. But then what you're going to want to do is take paper. I suggest that tracing this again and just taping to cover the wire. So I'm just going to do this real quick and just kind of tape. I suggest using scotch tape here. I just don't have scotch tape, as I said previously. So just kind of, I'm going to trim it. Scotch tape is just going to be less visible and stuff. Like if you have like this is really dark and you're using light fabric, it's going to show through. So yeah. It's not really the end of the world. It's just be wary. And trim the top. There you go. The wire's covered and ready to go. Now Now I suggest, before you do this, I forgot to say, on your fabric, trace, like I traced it and cut out into the shape. You're gonna want you want them to be a little bit bigger, not exactly the same size. You know, like you had a seam allowance when you sew. Kind of do that with this. And then I made the one that's going to go in the middle smaller. If you're doing you can do two colors of fabric if you want. You know, like you want a white on the inside and then black on the outside. Now, find your headband. Oh, I set mine down. There it is. Yeah, put it on your head. This is what I did. Put it where you want it to be. Take your ear and kind of slide it in and be like, oh, I want the ear to be right here. So take your wire and kind of... Now, you could just wrap it around if you can get it to be secure enough to kind of wrap it around like that. I taped mine on. I suggest doing, if you can just wrap the wire around nicely, you know, if you don't want to cover your headband in fabric, but if you are going to cover your headband in fabric, I would just be however you want with the tape. Tape it on is, you know, cover it in tape if you want, but I'm not going to show you how to cover, like I'm not going to cover the headband in fabric because this just would take too long, but I'll kind of generally tell you how to do it. And from there, put it on your head, be like, okay, you know, I like that, that works for me, blah blah blah, then position the other one and do the same thing. Then what you're going to want to do from here, if you are going to cover your headband in fabric, just simply hot glue along the band and then take a strip of fabric and just kind of smooth it on and then just, you know, like just have it like that and then trim it. You can just, it's not that difficult. And if you even want to do that before or after, I do it after because I tape it. Again, if you don't want to put fabric on your headband, you don't have to. Now, take your fabric that you're going to glue on and just kind of set it, make sure it goes where you want it, and then just take your hot glue gun and glue. I do it in small patches, like I'll do one, lay it on, smooth it out, then continue. Yeah, take it, then just take your fabric and lay it on, and just be careful not to burn yourself. Make sure your fabric can handle hot glue. You don't want your fabric, like if you're using a plasticky kind of thing, it can melt, whatever. Then I continue to the next part. Just be careful, because if you're not careful, it can kind of like, I don't know if I have an example, it can kind of like saturate your fabric and like make it leave spots and stuff, so be careful not to use too much, like don't glob a giant glob on. And smooth it out. You can kind of see how it's sort of doing it. You probably can't, it's not going to pick up on camera. I use a little too much in that spot. So just be careful not to use way too much. Then just kind of take it, and I like just to outline like ear. I don't like you don't have to glob glue all over it. Just kind of see, kind of. Yeah, it's not going to pick it up, but then just lay it down and smooth it out. And just to finish off, there you go. Now then there's the inside here. You're going to want to fold it. If there's a lot, you can trim it, but I'm going to fold it over. Now keep in mind, if you're doing two colors, you're going to want to do the back first, just because in the inside part, is gonna, well, actually, either way, if you have it nice and trimmed up, you could do the inside first if you want to overlap over it. Otherwise, you can do I do the back first and then put the front because it covers up this. But if you're nice and neat with it, you can, you know, do it that way. So you have, like, you know, it looks like, oh, like the inside of your ear is pink. So just glue on and fold it over. There you go. Not too difficult. And just do it to the other side. Okay, that's what that looks like. Then take your centerpiece and, you know, kind of glue on just where it needs to be glued on. Now keep in mind I'm doing this kind of quickly, so it's gonna look a little messy. If you take it slower, it's gonna look nicer. And then that's pretty much, then you can trim the edges, and then you can just bend it to the shape you want it to be, and there you go. And then tiny little ear. Pretty much, this could work for any character. You know, like I'm doing it for Mikuru from the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, her Red Bunny costume. You could do, you know, Haruhi's or Yuki's ears or any of the other girls. You can use it for any other character. You know, just make them as broad or thin or big or short as you need to. As I said, using it without wire would probably work. It just depends on what you want. You're just gonna have to commit to a shape, and it, you know, might not be as sturdy. Just make sure you use lots of paper to kind of, so there you go. And now keep in mind this is going to be a flat ear. If you want it to be puffier, you're going to have to shape it differently. But, yeah. So just keep in mind, they can be heavy, so you're going to want to strategically make sure that you have them bent in ways, and you have a nice sturdy headband, because you don't want them falling all over. So I think that's about it. If you have any questions at all, if I wasn't clear about something, I'm sorry. If you couldn't see something, just ask me, and I will answer any questions. I hope this could help anyone out there who needs to make bunny ears for their cosplay or costume or whatever. Just keep in mind, sturdier the wire, sturdier is going to be, if it's a, you want a bendable but sturdy wire. And don't melt your fabric. So I'm gonna go end it here. This is getting pretty long. So when I'm done with my cosplay completely, my Mikuru cosplay, I'm gonna make a video about it. I'll probably refer back to this video in it. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. I hope I could help anyone out there who need to make ears.